Oh, hello everybody. So, don't do drugs, otherwise this will happen. Yeah. Oh, okay. So, I am SuperViperT302. I ran Pack and Roll Remix earlier in this event, and now I'm going to be running probably the most famous speed game out there. So, let's just go ahead and dive right in 3, 2, 1, video games.
Mario.
So timing for this game, unlike most games, starts on power on as opposed to like file selector first input, and that's just kind of tradition. So if you've never really watched speedruns of this game, which if you haven't, that's surprising. But if for those of you who have not, this is 70 star, and why 70? Well, there are glitches that allow you to beat this game with fewer stars than intended. This category bans all those glitches. In other words, this category prohibits skipping any starter requirements, and is essentially any percent without any major skips. So no backwards long jumps will be used, and no missed clips will be used. That just being said, this is not necessarily a glitchless run, but rather I'm just not going to be using any glitches that would allow me to skip starter requirements. But I am going to be using glitches and some other pretty cool strategies to collect these stars. So at the start here, there's a trick called like Key to Skip, where I can skip this cutscene if I long jump off the very left edge of this bridge. And I failed it because this game is good. That's about like an 8 to 9 second time loss, and is usually a reset if you're at a top level. Nice movement there. So my only option to go to at this point is to Bob on Battlefield, because that's the only place where I can get a stars from. And I'm actually going to be going from, since this is a marathon and what the heck, I'm actually going to be trying something that's not really marathon safe, so I'm only going to try it once. This is called Island Hop. So you have 5 frames to wall kick in this game when you bonk on a wall, and if you wall kick off on the first possible frame, you get what's known as a first frame wall kick, or a firstie, where you maintain all the speed you had going into the wall kick. I failed it. So you saw what I was trying to do there. I was trying to get to the floating island there without using the cannon or the cap. So we're just going to do this instead. So how that trick works is you have to, when a bob-omb is about to explode, it increases in size for 4 frames, and if you grab it during any of those 4 frames, its hitbox sort of infringes with Mario's hitbox and causes him to it causes it to constantly push Mario out of its hitbox, which gives him enough backwards force to go through the chain chomp skate like that. So I'm not going to attempt that island hop trick again. I'm just going to do that star a different way in a little bit from now. I'm actually going to the Princess's Secret slide now, because it saves 1 second in castle movement to do this star before going to Womp's Fortress. And on the side here, there's a pretty well-known shortcut where I can turn myself around using this wall, and I can turn myself back around here, and then just jump and skip about half the slide. And a time usually under 13 seconds in-game time is good, so 13 flat is not horrible. So, again, the whole goal of 70 star is to not skip any starter requirements. So I'm going to be basically collecting the 70 fastest available stars. So with very few exceptions, I'm not going to be getting any all stars from every main course. I'm going to be visiting most courses, though. This is one of the exceptions where I actually will be collecting every single main star from Womp's Fortress, and this is a very hard level to do. It's very reset heavy. So I'm going to start off with this trick known as Owlist. This might look like it saves a lot of time, but it only saves about 5 seconds. And it's actually really hard. That's not going to work. Yeah, you need a lot of height, so I've netted time loss with this. That's better. You can skip having to use Hoot the Owl to get into that cage by just doing a precise triple jump wall kick. That's actually way harder than it looks. So now I'm actually going to do the first 100 coin star of the run. I'm going to be combining it with the red coins, because that's one less trip into the level. And I have to have pretty good movement at the start here, because there's a platform cycle I want to make. Alright, I made the cycle. So there are plenty of tricks in this game that save huge chunks of time, but the thing that makes this game so competitive is the amount of depth that there is to the movement and the mechanics. because there's such a huge level of depth to the way you can control Mario that there's so many tiny optimizations you can make to the movement. Like, my movement might look pretty crisp, but it is nowhere near optimized. You can do much faster movement than what I'm doing in certain places, but there's so many tiny things that are subtle to viewers. Like, every dive rod I need to do needs to be dustless, so I need to roll out on the first frame possible in order to keep all the speed I had going into the rollout. And I'll probably point out some more tiny movement optimizations throughout the run. So the next star I'm going to get is actually Blast Away the Wall, and normally you're supposed to use the cannon for this, but the star's hitbox sticks out of the wall slightly, and there's a tiny slit between the two parts of the wall that you can ledge grab. And when you ledge grab in this game, Mario's hitbox is actually on top of the wall, so by ledge grabbing where the star is, the two hitboxes can overlap and Mario will collect the star. But that's really precise and stupid, so we're actually going to use the setup sound found by Sock Folder to get Mario into the right position, to where I can just hold down and miss the star. It is still a somewhat finicky setup. Fortunately, there's a backup. By the way, 6 stars, 6.6 lives. I'm also not saving after every star because that wastes lag frames. The Nintendo 64 is technically slower than Wii Virtual Console, but for a variety of reasons, it is the preferred platform to run on. Star rotation does not actually affect the star's hitbox. I don't know if that's a meme or not, though. Alright, so I'm actually going to do plank push. This makes it, quote-unquote, 100% consistent. There we go. So yeah, I very obviously just collected that star from nowhere. I'm actually doing a certain thing called fast menu tech for most of these star selects. So on the star select menu, the save and the save menus all share this counter that once it reaches a certain value when you hold a direction for long enough, it will actually scroll instantly as opposed to you having to tap the button every single time or scrolling slowly. By the way, you can just kind of ground pound through Ping Wong here, good game. So by holding left on the star select screen, I can increment that counter so that when I exit the course and the save menu pops up, I can just hold straight down. So I held left at the star select menu. Normally I'd have to tap down twice to get to continue don't save. But I just hold straight down and it goes straight to continue don't save. And that's a lot more convenient. So again, the N64 does suffer from lag, so I'm playing this star with a zoomed in camera. That's also why I saved the star from last, because the fortress lags the game. Wow. Mistakes in this game tend to snowball, so that was a very, very ugly early game. But like I said, the early game is one of the hardest parts of the run to get out of. So, not really surprised. So now I'm actually going to head back to the Princess's Secret slide. The star I got earlier was the star I got earlier was the star you get from finishing the slide in under 21 seconds, and this is just going to be the regular box star, but I'm still going to use the same shortcut for it because it nets time save overall, even with the star cutscene. That should be a time under 13. Nice, 12.8. That's about average for me. So now that this is my 10th star, so Tower of the Wing Cap is going to be unlocked, so the light's going to appear in the lobby, and I'm actually going to go into Mario Cam here, because this light actually lags the game, and so I can reduce lag by just doing that. And I only need the cap switch for 2 stars in this run, but this red coin star is also really fast, so I might as well just get it anyways. So I want to do that downwards dive there for those 2 red coins. You gain a lot more speed while flying by diving downwards, but it's also really hard to control Mario at that speed. Especially when you need to do precise maneuvers to collect coins. And here I'm going to do a text skip. You can skip the text box that you normally get from stepping on that switch by just jumping into the star after landing on it. And now I'm able to go to Bowser in the Dark World, which is the first place where I need to get the key from here in order to go to the basement. And this is a very movement-intensive stage. I'm going to be collecting the red coin star, and it's super easy to die in this stage. I'm also going to be going for a platform cycle known as Shigeru Cycle, which is just named after an old Japanese runner, so I'm going to need to focus here. So that's Shigeru's cycle. That's the standard RTA cycle. There are cycles you can make that are faster than that, but that's usually what you'll see most runners go for. Really, the scary part about this level in a no reset is dying, because it's usually a massive time loss. So there we go. That is Dark World Reds. Now I get to do the first Bowser fight. So I should probably mention, after this star, I'm actually going to be going back to BOB to get the Island Star, which is that star I attempted Idiot Trick for. The reason why is because, again, the wing cap doesn't become unlockable until you have at least 10 stars, so I needed to get 10 stars before I could do that. And normally Island Hop would save about 10 seconds, because you would only have to make one trip to BOB instead of 2, like I'm going to have to do here. And so that is the first key. So in BOB, I'm going to be doing a trick called a Sky Jump to get to the island instead, which is way more consistent by a long shot. So Mario's horizontal speed dictates how high his single and double jumps go, and they will also dictate how high he can fly in the air. So I'm going to climb up a slope here using a trick where you can hold A and tap B to kick up slopes, and then slide down the slope to get a lot of speed, and then convert that speed into flying speed. And triple jump from this cannon, and that should be just enough to get to the floating island. You cannot make it out there unless you get that horizontal speed. If you just try triple jumping from the cannon, you're not going to get anywhere close to the top of the island. So now I'm going to go to Cool Mountain. So again, because this is a marathon, I'm going to try a strat I don't normally do in runs, but it is faster by a couple seconds than what I normally do. So you can in this game, you cannot wall kick out of a backflip unless you're facing the wall. And I'm going to use that for a slightly faster strat here. Alright, that's very hard to time, and if you fail that, you're basically dead, so happy I got that. Next up is Little Penguin Lost, and this star is pretty self-explanatory. You just grab the baby penguin and slide all the way down. It looks really impressive, and it's actually really easy. So, another thing I should probably mention about star orders in this game is that you can, for most courses, you can do the stars in basically whatever order you want. However, there are some stars that are act-specific, and I'll get to those when we get to those. I don't think there's too many of them in this run. And so, next up I'm going to do a 100 coin route that's actually exclusive to 70 star, and you only do it if you do the fastest route. So, in 120 star, you would do the 100 coins with the big penguin race. I'm actually going to be doing it with the slip slide and away here. And this saves about 1 second to do this and then do a different star later in the run. And it's also just a lot safer for marathons, because failing the 100 coin star during big penguin race loses way too much time, whereas this is usually just a minuscule time loss at best. So I have 1 spare coin to go down the slide, because, fun fact, exactly half of the coins in this level are on the slide. There are 77 in total. I can afford to miss 1. But unlike the 100 coin route with the big penguin race, it's not the end of the world if I miss more than 1. I can just get some backup coins somewhere, and I don't have to redo the entire slide, which is why this route is a lot safer for 70 star. Although I am going to have to do a different star in Shifting Sandland, which is significant, which is a bit scarier, but hopefully it goes well. So yeah, I'm leaving the slide with 98 coins, and then the last 2 coins I'm going to get are just from that red coin right over there. And the star is right next to me, so I'll just be able to grab both of these and head on out.
Here we go! Here we go!
That was actually barely a gold split. So I'm going to go a little bit out of my way here to go to Big Boo's Haunt now. This is probably one of the more out-of-the-way courses in the game, and it's not in a painting, so it takes longer to get into than others. So I'm only going to be getting 2 stars from here, but the 2 stars are just too fast to not be in the route. So for both of these stars, I'm going to just wall jump up to the 2nd floor instead of using the stairs that you're not supposed to do. that you're supposed to get after completing the first star, but Nintendo is very good at making games, and I'm very good at this game. Not really. And here I can just skip a puzzle by double jumping from one balcony to another. Super easy. And the only other star I'm going to get here is Big Boo's balcony. This is a somewhat tricky star to do casually, but once you get it down for speedrunning, it kind of just becomes second nature, really. By the way, again, I'm turning the camera. Wow, I screwed up that movement both times. Another thing I should point out is when I entered those double doors, I actually entered the leftmost door. That's actually a few frames faster than entering the right door because Mario pushes the door instead of pulls it open. And that animation is a few frames faster, so I actually just lost some frames there. So how I'm going to kill Big Boo here is I'm going to ground pound him once, then punch him once. I'm going to do this third hit to him by sliding into him like that. And then I can also chain that into getting on top of the roof. And those are the only 2 stars I'm going to be getting there because every other star in there is way too slow to be worth it. So I'm going to head down to the basement, and shifting Sandland, I'm going to be starting off with a trick called Pillarless, which is essentially that bomb clip you saw earlier, but taken a few steps further. So when you dive into a grabbable object and then land on a downward slope, you initiate what's known as the hands-free glitch, where Mario's not in the holdy action state, but the object still thinks it's in Mario's hands. By the way, easiest mid grab ever. And that allows me to do stuff like double jump and ground pound, and by doing that with a bloated bomb, I can continue to get pushed backwards by it, and I can use this to clip into the top of the pyramid without opening the pillars. So I'm actually going to be going for this trick twice with this route I'm doing, so hopefully this goes well. So we got the bloated bomb, and now I'm in hands-free, and now I have to do some pretty precise jumps to get to the pyramid. And I just got a ground pound when I'm at the top, and there we go. So I'm actually going to do the secret star. This is the star I'm replacing Big Penguin Race with. And I'm basically just doing this to coerce me into doing Pillarless twice. So I made that trick look way easier than it actually is, and again, that's not even the fastest setup for it. Which just goes to show how big the skill ceiling in this game is. There's optimizations that save tenths of seconds that people do that I'm just not good enough to do. Okay, so that time I pressed B like maybe 1 or 2 frames too early. As I said, the Bob-omb floats in size for 4 frames, and when you grab it does actually matter. Because the later you grab it, the bigger its size, and the more it pushes you. So I actually want to grab it on the 4th possible frame. You can do it with the 3rd frame and it will still work, but I prefer to do it with the 4th. So that's part of what makes this trick really annoying. There we go. So I got the 4th frame there. So this is the biggest size, and therefore the most momentum you can get. Alright. Not too bad. And for last star, it's just going to be the star you get from Klepto. I'm not necessarily manipulating a Fly Guy to do anything, although a Fly Guy's movement is based on your position relative to it. So I'm gonna avoid having it notice me until like right here, and then bounce on it, and then just glide into Klepto like that to get the star a little bit quicker. So there's no RNG involved in that at all, because a Fly Guy's movement can be manipulated. And now I'm going to go to Lethal Lava Land, so I'm actually going to be collecting every star here except for the 100 coin star. And we're going to start with the only other star in the game in this run that I need the wing cap for, or any special cap for that matter. And I can just use it to fly over the fence here and get the star a little bit quicker. Very nice oversight. So the next 2 stars I'm going to be doing the ones in the volcano, and I'm going to be abusing lava boosting. You know, the little hop Mario does when he falls into the lava. to allow me to skip certain sections of gameplay. So here I'm going to use the lava waterfall, or whatever you want to call it, at the start of the volcano to lava boost all the way up the volcano and skip having to climb the whole thing. Like such. So I'm already at the top. And then for the other star, I'm just going to lava boost up to the second elevator to skip it. To skip having to do the first one. And this star is super easy to die to if you mistime a single input. Something else I should probably mention about star order. I'll actually do that in a little bit because I need to focus here. This is the hard part of this star. Okay, I still made it, but that was a bit of a time loss. So for some of the main courses, I'm at the star select menus, I'm actually going to be putting off doing the first mission. Although some courses I'm not going to do that for various reasons. And this is one of those courses where I'm doing that, because otherwise I'd have to deal with the star select menu scrolling back to the left, and that can make it hard to properly enter the level as optimally as possible. So for those instances, I'll just not hold left at the menus and then just tap down twice in order to get the no save. I do run the risk of hitting save and quit though, because that takes you back to the main menu, and you have to backtrack all the way to whatever course you came from, and depending on where you are, that can lose up to like maybe 30 seconds, if not more. Alright, so I didn't skip the ledge grab there, but that's actually fine, because I can do this star as a backup and lose literally no time. Those bullies can be a real nuisance. If you don't get all three of them into the lava, they can just knock you around repeatedly, and you lose way too much time. So there's one important thing to note that I kind of glossed over in the previous star, and that's when I long jumped at that brown slope, I was holding Z. For some reason, that allows you to immediately jump dive off the slope, like so. Otherwise, you'd have to wait. So that's the part I was talking about. Alright, I didn't get the ledge grab skip there, so I'm just gonna have to... Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna knock you into the lava over here. Alright, hopefully I don't ledge grab here. I don't have a whole lot of momentum here. Okay, well, I ledge grabbed, but... that was really scary. Okay. So, now that I have 30 stars, I can open the next star door barrier. So I'm going to make my way over there, but you're probably wondering why I'm not going to go to Hazy Maze Cave. And the reason is I'm actually going to be saving that for way later in the run, because I am going to have to come back down to the basement at some point. But for now, we're just going to head off to Dire Docks. And the thing with swimming in this game is that it involves pressing A in a rhythm, and you actually kind of have to be listening to the audio in order to know if you have optimal swimming or not, so I'm probably going to be quiet for most of this, so I can focus. This first star is just opening 4 chests in a particular order, and the one thing to point out about this is that as long as you're facing the front of the chest, or like within a certain angle range, it doesn't really matter where you hit the chest from. So you can hit it from like the side or even from the back if you so desire. This last chest is very annoying. And I actually want to be careful when swimming into the star, because if I accidentally overshoot it, then I'll swim behind the star. And that's not actually a wall behind the star, that's a ceiling. It might not look like it is. It might not look like a ceiling, but it is one. And when Mario swims into a ceiling, it moves him downwards, so I would get warped down by a huge amount, and it would be really tedious. So this next star aboard Bowser's sub, I actually am required to get the star in order to spawn Bowser in the fire seat. So I can make my way over to the second section. Fortunately, the star isn't too slow. And once I'm midway through the tunnel, I'm gonna hit C left, because the submarine notoriously lags the game by a lot, so I want to try to keep it off screen as much as possible, so that it doesn't reduce lag. So I can reduce lag, actually, but you'll see what I mean very shortly. Alright, I stopped my momentum there, otherwise I probably would have fallen off into the water. Now there's one more star I want to get from DDD, and it's the Manta Ray star. Now, due to a bug in the game's code, the visual orientation of these rings doesn't actually match the physical orientation, so swimming through these rings is very, very tedious. But there's a good setup for these first 5 that I can hopefully nail, so I don't have to do a lot with the Manta. Alright, that was good. And then swimming to the star can be kind of awkward because the camera sometimes makes it really annoying. But we're good. So now, next we're going to do Bowser in the Fire Sea. Again, I'm going to be getting red coins here. I'm going to be going for the fastest elevator cycle, known as Lava Boost Early Ellies. I have like maybe a second or 2 of leeway throughout this entire stage and movement. This might be fast enough. Alright, barely made it. So that's the fastest elevator cycle you can make RTA. And if I didn't get burned there, I could have gone for the good ending here, but instead I'll just do some lava boosts. So, not too shabby, aside from that ending there. That's really the big thing, is making sure you make the Lava Boost Early Alley cycle. Because even if you just make normal Early Alleys, I think that's like a deficit of about 10 seconds. And now we're off to this Bowser fight. So in terms of Bowser throws, this is the worst one to miss. Because, first of all, you can't actually grab him early here. And when if you throw him off the edge, he does this attack when he jumps back on. And you can't grab him until he starts moving. So you just have to make sure to not miss that throw, which I didn't, so we're good. And this will give me the second key, which will allow me access to the upstairs portion of the game. And we're almost halfway through the run. In fact, time-wise, I'd say we're a little past the halfway point. So the upstairs stages are going to go by pretty quickly. First, I'm going to go to Wet Dry World, where the height that you enter the painting at determines the initial water level, and there's 3 initial water levels you can enter at. Please exit course. And for all but one of the stars, I'm going to enter on the lowest water level. And I'm going to start off with a 100 coin route that's once again exclusive to 70 star. It's going to be 100 coins paired with the secret star. And this is one of my favorite stars in the run, movement-wise. And one of my favorite 100 coin routes to do. At the start here, I'm going to go for some strats where you can break 2 boxes at once with a single kick. Got it. I can also do that over here. Nice, I got 2 for 2. That's actually, it barely saves time, but it looks super cool. So in terms of RNG in this game, this star heavily showcases a lot of it, because whenever a coin spawns from an enemy or a box, its angle, horizontal speed, and vertical speed is all determined by RNG. So when you have multiple coins spawning from an enemy, like these 10 coin boxes, or there's going to be a Chuckya later that spawns 5 coins, the coins can just spread out in all sorts of directions. Fortunately, with these 10 coin boxes, if you do a jump kick to get them like that, then you can pretty consistently get all 10 of them. Let's grab Chuckya, please. Okay, that was pretty good overall. And I might grab this 5th coin when jumping to the star. Okay, that doesn't actually matter, because the save menu doesn't pop up until Mario finishes the until either Mario finishes the animation of scratching his face like that, or until the coin counter finishes counting up. And in that case, the animation finishes first. So here, I'm going to go for 2 different things here. I'm going to break this box during this triple jump, and then go for this precise triple jump wall kick. to get onto the elevator. And I missed it, but in the better way, so I can just back it up by doing this. So I need to activate this elevator to lower right down, but once I do that, I can just wall kick up the elevator shaft.
Here we go!
And so for this next star, I'm actually going to enter on the mid-water level for one reason and one reason only, and that is so that I can bounce off the skeeter at the start of the level. And get up here a little bit quicker, because I don't need the water level lowered for any reason. And we can just make our way up here. And that's that star. And the last star I'm going to be doing here is shocking airlifts, where there's a number of ways you can actually skip doing the star the intended way, and this is easily the most overlooked one. There's just a teleporter right near the start of the level. That when you enter it takes you to this cannon that's conveniently right above the star box. Good level design. So that's everything I'm going to be getting in Wet Dry World, so now I'm going to move on to Tiny Huge Island. And for all 3 stars I'm going to be collecting here, I'm actually going to be entering in the tiny painting, because it just takes too long to get to the huge painting. I'm going to start with Secrets, which is another one of my favorite stars movement-wise. Okay, I failed that triple jump wall kick, but that's fine because we have backups. I'm actually just going to go ahead and do this Piranha Plant star now. So what happened there was I hit a ceiling hitbox instead of a wall hitbox, and a ceiling is not a wall, so Mario cannot wall kick off of it. And so I just got a wall-less bonk, and you could tell that it was a ceiling and not a wall because it made like a boing sound upon Mario hitting the wall instead of just a hard thud. But this triple jump wall kick at the start is somewhat specific, so let's try that again. There we go. Okay. Alright, and I just have this risky jump to the star here. Okay, it's a good thing I didn't ledge grab there, otherwise I would have had to do a slow get up, because where that coin is, there's actually a one-way teleporter. So that can really cost you a lot of time. And I probably should talk about that clip I just did at the end of the star, because that probably looked really confusing. So, because that hill has such a steep floor hitbox, it's actually really thin. So, with good speed and angle, Mario can just clip right through it. You can actually do a similar thing here, but I'm not going to. And when Mario enters a body of water, he is programmed to appear at the surface of water in the swimming state, regardless of where he enters it from. So I entered it from sort of like the side there, and therefore Mario was immediately teleported to the surface. And that's all I'm going to be doing in THI. So now we're going to go to Tall Tall Mountain, which is one of the scarier stages in this run. It's super easy to make all sorts of big mistakes here. After we get this insanely hard star from Toad. So I'm going to use that same steep floor clip and water upwork mechanic I talked about earlier to basically skip half the mountain here. And I can use a log wall kick here to save 1 measly second. Triple jump up that slope. And we're going to get the waterfall star here by doing that wall kick, and there we go. That was very well executed. So yeah, as you just saw there, you can do it. You can start a double jump that lands on a slope, and then you can do a triple jump to climb up certain slopes. And so you can use that in there. And now I'm going to do that same sequence of stuff, but go even higher on the mountain. Okay, I tried to get a first frame wall kick there because my angle didn't look too good, but it did not happen. So we're going to do this as a backup. So you're supposed to use the cannon for that star, but the crazy box also works. That's actually, it looks scarier than it is. There we go. Again, just scaling that mountain using basically any means necessary. Making it kind of look like a joke. And now I'm going to do red coins by themselves, which is another really self-explanatory star. It's just a bunch of movement to get these red coins, and using some camera angles to reduce lag. So I probably should talk about the next trick I'm going to go for, because it's actually a bit more hard to explain than you might think. So this next star, you're supposed to, go on the slide and then ride the slide all the way down. But you can very easily skip the slide by just jumping into the star compartment. But you can also skip having to take the vertical wind up by using the fence's one-way wall properties to get pushed inside the mountain and then ground pound into the star compartment. It's kind of hard to explain, but if I get it, you'll sort of understand what I'm doing. So this is actually really precise. Alright, I didn't get it. You kind of saw Mario get kind of clipped up in there. That was the fence pushing Mario sort of inside the mountain, but he didn't make it all the way through. So we're just going to have to do that as a backup.
Here we go!
And now I'm going to go to Snowman's Land, which is a very fast-paced level. I only get 4 stars in here, and optimally I'm in here for less than 2 minutes. So this first one, Snowman's Big Head, again, this long climb is kind of made to look like a joke. That wall kick is a lot more precise than it looks, because once again, there's only a sliver part of that area that's actually a wall, and the rest is ceilings, and you can't wall kick off a ceiling. Now I'm going to do Roll from Freezing Pond, where I'm going to make a direct beeline to the star and jump over the slope to do it. So there was a movement technique I did twice during that star that's known as a speed kick, where normally when you land with a high amount of speed and then try to press A and B at the same time, you'll always do a jump dive. But by holding neutral and A upon landing from something like a rollout, you can actually initiate a kick that maintains your momentum. And what's nice about that is not only does it maintain speed, but A-B kicks like this have a set height, so they're really useful for starting triple jumps. And so I've been doing that trick quite often throughout the run, and it's very subtle and a hard technique to master. And now I'm going to do Chill with the Bully as the last star here. And this is a pretty fan-favorite star, because you can just kind of slide into the Chill Bully and stun lock it off the platform, and it makes a really funny noise. So I have over 50 stars now, which means the second MIPS, which is the rabbit in the basement, has now spawned. So I'm actually going to go all the way back down to the basement. I'm going to actually enter here, exit course, and then head about all the way back down there to get the second MIPS. And while I'm down here, I'm going to go ahead and do Hazy Maze Cave. Now this second MIPS is slightly faster than the first one on the NTSC-U version of the game. I can still use the same strategy for it, but it's a little bit more precise. Alright, we got him. And getting this star overdoing the red coins in Snowman's Land saves, get this, 1 second. But totally worth it. And before we go to Hazy Maze Cave, there's another really hard star I need to get here. I don't know how I do it. Takes a lot of practice. So Hazy Maze Cave, there's some rooms in this level that just don't have ceilings for whatever reason, so you can just kind of jump over walls. And all of the rooms here are connected in some way, so we can do some pretty crazy stuff, as you're about to see. Yeah, I can use that box to just kind of triple jump over a wall, and the cavern happens to be right underneath the rolling rocks room, so we can just fall all the way down into there. I actually had to be careful there because the death pits of the starting room are actually located directly above that underground lake, so if you move too far forward too quickly, you'll end up above that shared death barrier and just die. So I actually had to wait a little bit before holding forward. Pretty stupid sequence break here. You can kind of skip doing everything for that star by just triple jump wall kicking to it. That's actually normally a very long and roundabout level, but in speedruns, it's just a matter of doing that. So the next star I'm going to get is Metalhead Mario Can Move, and you're probably thinking to yourself, Viper, how are you going to get that star without the metal cap? Well, it turns out you can just kind of fall onto the switch and press the switch if you have the right amount of downwards momentum. And as a shortcut to the cavern, I'm going to triple jump wall kick over this wall. And that should give me enough height so that I can just hit the switch like that. And that's how you do that star capless. Fun fact, in 120 star, you actually don't even need to hit the metal cap switch. You only need the metal cap for the red coin star in there. And last but not least, we have Watch for Rolling Rocks, which is literally a straightforward star. The only thing that can really happen here is there are 256 possible paths for these boulders to take, and sometimes you get one where they bounce into the rightmost wall early on and then roll off to the left and they just run into you. But that didn't happen there, so we're good. So I'm done with Hazy Maze Cave now, so once again, I'm going to re-enter the level, exit course, and then go all the way back upstairs. Again, this is all just to save 1 second. Also, you saw this earlier, you can just kind of ledge grab through the ceiling here. I don't know, it's really hard to explain why that works. So now I'm heading off to the tip-top floor of the castle where the last few stages of the run are. And we're going to start with Rainbow Ride, which is a very frustrating level in speedruns, and kind of where runs go to die. Starting off with Got Like Key to Bounce, the name kind of implies what I do for this trick. I can use that like key tube I have to manipulate that like key tube in a specific way so that I can bounce on it and get onto that ramp. And then using these pulls, I can skip having to ride any single carpet in this star. And that saves a big chunk of time, but that trick is stupidly annoying. Next star I'm going to do is Tricky Triangles, and I can die in 2 different ways within the first 10 seconds of the star, so hopefully this goes well. Alright, we're good. Alright, that was pretty much executed perfectly. The triple jump wall kick at the start, and then the long jump to those donut lifts is insanely precise. Alright, next I'm going to do Swing It in the Breeze. This one's also kind of self-explanatory in terms of what you're doing. This long jump's kind of precise, though, because the angle is not exactly intuitive to figure out. And the last star I'm going to be getting here is the red coins, which is, once again, pretty self-explanatory. Alright, I messed up the arch wall kick there, so I had to do a back out. That was very well executed. I'm actually surprised that went well. A little bit of some hiccups there, but managed to recover it alright. Overall, not too bad of a Rainbow Ride. And the last main course I'm going to be going to is Tick-Tock Clock, where I'm actually going to be collecting all 7 main stars here, including the 100-point star. So I'm going to start by entering with the minute hand on the 12, which will freeze all the clock parts. And now I'm going to do the 100-point star, and I'm going to combine it with Stomp on the Thwomp, because I have to go all the way to the top of the clock here. The star is pretty much just all movement and execution, so I'm just going to kind of shut up and let you enjoy. Oh wow, that triple jump wall kick is sort of annoying. It's okay though, because I get 2 backup points from it, so I can afford to play a little bit nicer. And there's so many different ways to get up the clock in this level that it really isn't that much of a hindrance. Unfortunately, you're right above that block, so you're very unlikely going to die from missing that. So I just bonked on nothing, and you're probably wondering what that was. That was actually an exposed ceiling hitbox. So a ceiling hitbox in isolation will extend upwards to infinity, and it usually can be overridden by a floor, but sometimes it just slips past floor hitboxes for unknown reasons. And therefore Mario can hit one while it's in midair. And ceilings are sort of no-go zones for Mario, so they cancel his movement if he tries to jump into one and make him fall straight down. So that's what happened there. So for the next couple stars, I'm going to enter with the minute hand near the 9, which makes the clock parts move fast, and the reason why is I can do this cool thing at the start. So that saves time on 3 different stars, but it saves time especially for get a hand, because then the hand is on a good cycle for me to just do those long jumps across. Alright, now I'm going to do that again, this time for the pit and the pendulums. Okay, so I messed up there, so I'm actually going to do the backup here, which is to do red coins with time moving. This might seem hard, but it's actually not that bad once you practice it. And I've done it more times than I could count, so I'm pretty well versed in it. Yeah. So hopefully I have no more backups, so hopefully I get it the other 2 times, otherwise I'll just have to climb up the entire clock, which is really slow. And tedious when the parts are moving. Alright, I was anticipating having a different scenario happen there, so I was going to go for a triple jump. So that's actually the one disadvantage to my star order of doing get a hand first, is if that happens, then you don't have a backup at your disposal. But again, I'm mostly doing it to put off doing star number 1, but now I can't do that because my cycles were off, so I decided to just get it then. Alright, I've got 2 more stars I need to do here, and I need to do that spinner's trick one more time. Wow. Alright, I'm actually going to show off this backup. I don't know if this is actually faster or not, but you can also get up here by just kicking up these spinners. Sort of like what I did for the red coins. No idea what cycle I'm going to have here. Alright, that actually worked out. And the final star I'm going to get here, I'm going to enter with the minute hand on the 12 so that the clock parts are frozen again. Hopefully that's not too early. Alright, we're good. That was really good. now you're probably thinking to yourself, what could the 70th star possibly be? Well, that toad that's sitting right by TTC, yeah, this is it. Sort of anticlimactic, but it works. And now that I have 70 stars, the mystery of the endless stairs has been solved, which means I can now successfully beat the game without skipping any starter requirements. And Bowser in the Sky, I don't need to get the red point star here, so I'm just going to kind of make my way to the end of the stage as quickly as possible. It's another pretty movement-intensive stage, though. So the only really noteworthy thing about this stage is that midway through there's going to be a triple jump wall kick I go for in order to skip some part of the stage. And you know what? I'm going to kind of go balls out here, and I'm going to go for the fastest but also hardest variant of it. This is moving right side. I'm definitely going to fail this. Yeah, so you can also do it on the left side, so I'm just going to do that now. Doing it on the right side is much harder. Alright, and you can place your bets on how many throws I'm going to miss. Because, yeah, no pressure when you're barely ahead of PB pace, and every missed throw is about 12 to 15 seconds. And you have about a 2-frame window for each of these throws, which is really fun. Yeah, that was so horrible. I was like many frames early there. And that's the easiest one. Alright, there we go. Alright, that's 2. And that's 3. So time is going to be coming up. It's when I touch the Grand Star. That was a pretty bad run, but hey, I had fun, so worth it. Get ready, and time. My timer says 52:12. My PB is a 49:40, so that was a little over 2.5 minutes off PB. The world record is a 46:59 by D whatever. It is insane. So yeah, and I know we're a little bit ahead of schedule, so just to fill the time, I am going to show off what is probably my favorite glitch in this game. So we're going to go ahead and reset the console here, and I'm going to just do this on a completed file. So when Mario gets grabbed by Chuckya, which is that big purple thing you saw me kill in Wet Dry World, his object and struct, so the Mario object is where you see Mario, and the Mario struct is where calculations are made, and normally these two positions are the same, but they actually desync when Mario gets grabbed by Chuckya. So what you see in Chuckya's hands is actually the Mario object, whereas the Mario struct is elsewhere. Now, normally, you cannot control the Mario struct while he's being grabbed by Chuckya, because that's how the action works. So I'm going to lower Chuckya here, so that I can get him submerged in water. And now I'm going to raise the water level. So when Mario gets grabbed underwater, that state gets overridden. So I can actually control the Mario struct while he's being held by while the Mario object is being held by Chuckya. So I'm going to try to do here is grab Chuckya while I'm being held. And this is kind of precise, because you can't see Mario, first of all, and Chuckya also spins by a random amount before he throws Mario, so it's kind of up to luck. Alright, that didn't work. This might take a few tries, but it does look really cool if I can get it. So as you can see, you can kind of tell that I am kind of controlling Mario while I'm just being held by Chuckya, which you're obviously not supposed to do. need to reset it up. Yeah, let's get Chucky to move back a little bit so I can reset it up. Because the camera's sometimes not very cooperative. So there is very little practical application for what I'm trying to do here, but I just want to show it off. And I'm having a lot of trouble with it because the game is not being cooperative. Alright, let's reset this up so that I can actually get a proper camera angle alignment here. Again, what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to grab Chucky while Mario is being held by him. Alright, let's actually head back over here so I can reset up the camera, because I think that's kind of messing me up. That did not work. Come on. You can also kind of see that the Mario that's in Chucky's hands is doing what the Mario Struct is doing, even though he's like not in the being held animation. And that's kind of the funny part about the glitch you're about to see. Oh, I accidentally grabbed Chucky without being held by him, but there's a pretty easy way to back this up. By the way, the main reason this is possible is because there's no area in the game where where you have both the Chucky and Mario. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to let it grab while holding Chucky in a way that causes him to grab me. And also fall down like this. That was close, but not quite. That was somewhat close, but I was like mid-punch when Chucky stopped spinning. That time I just freaking jumped right back into him. There we go. So this is astral projection. If you've ever heard of that phenomenon, this is that in Mario 64. So now the Mario Struct and the Mario Object have been separated, and they will remain separated until Chucky dies. And that causes some really weird physics with these tilting platforms. In fact, I'm actually going to see if I can try taking this one step further. So, I mentioned the hands-free glitch earlier. Which is that trick you saw me use for pillarless and shifting sand lane. You can also get that trick by jumping into a ceiling and getting a wall-less bonk. And there's exactly one place in this course where you can do that. Or consistently do it. And I just failed it, but I accidentally wedge grab there, but yeah, there we go. So that's astral projection. I didn't show it off as much as I wanted to, but you get the idea. Anyways, so that's it for me, and I will throw it back on over to the host. Thank you for watching.
Yes. Yes, sir. Well, that was terrific. With a little bit of astral projection we did get, and that was certainly something. But definitely worth the wait, too, I gotta say. I didn't have any idea what was about to
It's one of my favorite glitches in this game, even though it is completely useless.
Alrighty, we're gonna go to intermission, and